Welcome back, guys. In the last lecture, we have discussed about how to create a new React application and how to run it. And in this lecture, we are going to discuss the project structure of React. Whenever you create a new React application, we will get 3 default folders and 4 files. Now, we are going to discuss what are those 3 folders and what are those 4 files. Let's start with the Node modules folder. Node modules are nothing but external JavaScript libraries that will come default. I'll show with an example. So whenever you want to add Bootstrap in the traditional HTML web pages, we will use the CDN links and we will paste that links in HTML header part. But when it comes to the React application, we will use the statements npm install bootstrap and we'll paste this link in the command prompt in the React application. It will start installing Bootstrap in the respective application. So these Bootstrap related folders will be added in the Node modules folder. So this is the use of Node modules. All the external JavaScript libraries will be added in the Bootstrap folder. So these are the default installed libraries when we created a new React application. So like this way we can add the external JavaScript libraries in the React application. We just need to run the command npm install followed by the library name. If it is Bootstrap, we need to type the npm install bootstrap. If it is animate.js, we need to write the npm install animate.js. So this is the way to install external JavaScript libraries in the React application, and that libraries related folders will be added in the Node modules folder. So in the further videos, we will be using Bootstrap in our application. So in that video, I will explain how to install Bootstrap and I will show you the Bootstrap related files in the Node modules folder. Let's move into the public folder. So public folder is related to the static files in the React application. If you expand this public folder, we can see all the static files or images in the public folder. So this favicon.ico is the React logo. Here you can see this is the static file. And in the public folder only, we have the index.html file. It is the entry point of your React application. After this index.html, we have 2 static files. Again, these are images. Here you can see this is the React logo and this is the React logo. So we have 3 React logos in this public folder. So after these static files, we have a file called manifest.json. It is related to the information about static files. If you observe here, we have the src means static file name, favicon.ico, this is the name. And we have the sizes information and we have the type, whatever the type it is, it may be image or any music file or any video file, etc. So in the last we have the robot.txt. It is related to the production environment file. So we can ignore it now because we are in the development. So whenever we want to upload this React application to the server, we need to add some code in this robot.txt. So as of now we can ignore it. So after public folder, we have src folder, means source folder. Source folder contain all the information about the components, including the default component app.js. So app.js is the default component in every React application. It will come automatically whenever you create a new React application. We need not to create it. And the remaining files are the related to the app.js component. This app.css is related to the style sheet for the app.js component. So in React, we will have the global style sheet and we will have the separate style sheet for every component. So suppose if you observe here, there is a file called index.css. It is the global style sheet. So whenever you want to apply styles to all the components in the React application, we will write the styling in index.css. So when you want to apply styling to the specific component, we will use the separate style sheet for the components. So here we have the separate style sheet for app.css and we have the global style sheet which is called as index.css. So in this top of the index.css, we have a file called app.test.js. It is related to the testing purpose. So we can ignore it. So here we have a file called index.js. This is the script file for the index.html which is present in the public folder. If you observe here in the public folder, there is a file called index.html and this script file is index.js. So React.js is used to develop single page application. So in any single page application, there will be only one HTML page and one script file. So the one HTML page is index.html and the one script file is index.js. We cannot create more than one HTML file and we cannot create more than one script file in the single page application frameworks. So after this index.js, we have a again static file which is called as logo.svg. So this is also related to the static file. After this logo.svg, we have two files called server worker.js, not server worker, it is service worker.js, and setup test.js. These two files are also related to the production environment, so we can ignore it. So after this source folder, we have four files. So the first file is gitignore file. It is related to the GitHub repository. Whenever we want to add these application into the GitHub repository, we have to make some changes in this gitignore file. As of now, we can ignore it. So after that gitignore file, we have a package.json file. It is the heart of the application. It will contain all the information in a single file. Here you can see our application name hello world and the React version and all the dependencies version, and we have some script and builds, etc. So we need not to make any changes in this package.json file. It is the heart of the application and it should be remain same. So I am closing it. So after the package.json file, we have package log.json. It is related to the information about the external JavaScript libraries, means node modules folder. So whatever the libraries installed in this node modules folder, that related libraries information, means versions, etc. So that related information will be presented in the package log.json file. So at the last we have a file, readme file. It is also related to the GitHub file. So once again I will explain all the files and folders in the React application. So first let's start with the node modules. So node modules contain the information about external JavaScript libraries. Whenever you want to add any external JavaScript libraries, we need to enter the command npm install followed by the library name. So after running that command, that library related files will be added in the node modules folder. So the best example is Bootstrap. So whenever you want to install Bootstrap in our application, we need to run the command npm install Bootstrap. After running the command, the Bootstrap related files will be added in the node modules folder. So the second folder is public folder. It is the static folder in the React application. It will contain all the static files like images, music files and videos, etc. So public folder is also containing the index.html file. It is the only HTML file in the React application. So we have another file called manifest.json. It contains the information about the static files like size, type, etc. So after that we have a robot.txt file. It is related to the production environment. So after the public folder, we have the source folder. Source folder is related to the component. It will contain the default component app.js and it will also contain the style sheets related to the app.js. We have the app.css which is related to the app.js specific component. And we have the index.css. It will related to the all the components. So if you write any styling in the index.css, it will affect all the components in the React application. If you write the styling in the app.css component, it will affect only app.js component. So this is the related between specified style sheets and the global style sheets. So index.css is the global style sheet and the app.css is the specified style sheet which is only applicable to the app.js component. And this app.test.js is related to the testing purpose. We can ignore it. And this index.js is related to the script file in the public folder. So in every single page application framework, there will be only one HTML page and one script file. So the one HTML page is presented in the public folder and the one script file will be present in source folder. After the index.js, we have the logo.svg. It is the static file. And we have two files, service worker.js and setup test.js. These two are related to the production environment. We can ignore it. So after the source folder, we have four files. So the first file is gitignore file. It is related to the GitHub repository. So whenever we want to add this React project to the GitHub, we have to make some changes in the gitignore file. After gitignore file, we have a file called package.json. So this is the heart of the React application. It will contain all the information about our application like name, version, dependencies, etc. After package.json, we have package log.json. It will contain information about the external JavaScript libraries, which is also called as node modules. So whatever the libraries installed in this node modules folder, that libraries information like versions, names, etc. that will be added in the package log.json. So the last file in the project structure is readme.md. So this is related to the GitHub. Thank you and in the next class we are going to discuss how to debug the React application. Thank you.